Hello beautiful souls, Lais here with a new episode of Female Soulpreneurs Growing Their Business. And this episode has nothing to do with growing a business, and yet everything. It has everything to do with growing a business. So let me explain what we are going to dive into today. It's all around the energy of our spaces, our homes, our office space. And while this case study that I'm going to share has nothing to do with business itself, I hope it inspires you to think outside of the box as to all the things that we need in place for our business to really thrive, or for us to thrive, the people behind the business. So I wanted to share this story. It just happened yesterday and it was just so endearing, and I'm still at awe. So I offer space clearing assessment calls, and people can book them on my website. Most of the time it's women, they are around my age or in their 30s. And yesterday I log on and there is a teenage girl looking back at me. And at first I was like, oh, maybe her mom is joining in a bit and they both want to talk to me. But nope, it was just this girl. And already my heart was melting. I was like, that's the cutest thing. So let's see what she has to say. And she right away went into what she wanted to ask me. She was like, yes, so my parents, they're always fighting in the living room. And I was wondering, you do space clearings, right? And I said, yes, I do. And she said, well, would you mind checking in to see if there's anything going on in that living room? Because seriously, they are fighting all the time. And again, my heart was just melting. It was just the cutest thing. And I told her, look, of course I can go meditate. I will close my eyes. I will channel the information, work with my intuition here to scan your space and see if there's anything external outside of your parents. And I will revert back to you in a bit. And then she got all excited and said, yeah, sure, I'm just going to be here. And I said, okay, perfect. So that's all the information I had. And I went to meditate and I connected to my space clearing guides, as I always do. And they scanned the space for me and they reverted back what was going on. And what was going on, it was a lot. So there was a vortex. A vortex, for those of you who are not familiar with it, it's an energy vortex. When two energy lines cross, they build a vortex. And so that's what spirits use. The spirits use this highway, the ley lines or these energy lines, until they cross and form this massive vortex that can bring them to the light, right? To our eternal home, to source, whatever you like to call it. And so when you have this vortex in your home, it's a lot of energy that can cause a lot of disruption. For some people, it might even affect their health. Some people might have insomnia, not sleep at all, or really badly. It might cause all sorts of imbalances in your energy, and also you might just feel very agitated. So people with ADD, ADHD, if they live on a vortex, they will feel their symptoms much stronger. And because of that, because there was this vortex in their living room, there were hundreds of spirits traveling through those energy lines, and some of them were outside of the lines. They stepped out of the lines and they didn't want to cross over. They didn't want to step into the light, into the vortex. So this home had several spirits. And once my space clearing guides showed me all of that, they also told me to channel some information about the girl herself. They said it's very important that she understands a few things. And so that was the incredible part, really. They showed me she's such an old soul, an incredibly old soul. And of course, if there's a teenage girl who calls you about space clearing, you can already imagine that she's quite special. So not only is she an old soul, she's a starseed. And for those of you who never heard what stars are, basically, it's this concept, the theory, the knowledge, the wisdom that we are eternal beings, for sure, and we have incarnated in different places, not just on Earth. Earth is just one of the many, many places that we can incarnate into. And so this girl had many more lives outside of Earth, literally a star being. And I even got the information as to where she spent most of her time, which was the constellation of Orion. and that she was a gifted, very gifted empath, energy healer, psychic, like completely in tune with everything that's invisible to us as human beings, because we cannot see energy, we cannot see the spiritual world, our spirit guides, nothing like that, but she can. And that's the information I retrieved from her, and they wanted me to revert it back to her. On top, they said she has a very karmic relationship with her mother. Her mother as a soul was the opposite. She's a very young soul, very unconscious as to what's happening, and primarily living in the 3D world, like many people, of course, like very unaware of any other dimensions, any spiritual wisdom. Yes, so the message was, it's a karmic relationship, it's a heavy relationship. The mother will not understand the daughter at all, this old soul. And so I went back to my Zoom and switched on the camera, and I told the girl about the vortex, about the spirits, and then she opened up and said, yes, I keep seeing spirits all the time. Like in my sleep, when I wake up, I have 3 men staring at me, for example. I also saw a spirit cat in the house. And I keep seeing these faces, and it's scary, it's creepy, right? So she understood what was happening. And I told her then about her being an old soul. And she said, yeah, I wondered about that. And I said, did you hear about stars or star beings? She said, yeah, I did. I even wondered if I am from Orion. So I was mind blown. I channeled that information, and she was already aware that she is a star being and potentially even from Orion, which is exactly what I had heard before. And so I tried to explain to her what that means in terms of her being an old soul and hyper aware of energy, and her psychic senses just being very open. And she said yes, and she gave me multiple examples. For example, she says, like, my mom has super negative energy all the time, and when she comes near me, she just projects that energy, and I can see the energy. It's like black, and it comes into my own energy field, and I don't like it. So I just take that energy and I throw it back at her. And that just made me laugh a lot. And I told her, look, it's amazing you can see this energy and have this perception of negative energy and how it affects us, and this is incredible. However, I don't think you should throw it back at people, because while you can perceive it coming and affecting you, your mom is not doing this maliciously. She's not aware of the energy she has and how it affects you or anybody else around her. She doesn't even believe in energy, I assume. So the best thing for you to do is to set the intention every time you see that energy coming or feel it coming, to neutralize the energy immediately so it does not affect you, and you do not have to throw it back at your mom. And then she said right away, yeah, I suppose I can do that. Very cute. Like, it was just adorable. And she also said she had crystal stones she uses for the healing frequencies, and that her mom was mocking her for that because she doesn't believe in that either. And so she was just sharing multiple examples of how frustrating it is to be an old soul with all this awareness and spiritual wisdom, and your parents, or specifically one parent, keeps mocking you for that. And my heart just went out to her for that too, because it is hard. And yes, and so she was so eager to learn more about all of this. And she said, look, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to take a part-time job. I'm going to hustle and earn money. And as soon as I have money, I'm going to invest in your programs. I want to understand more about my past lives and about my spirit guides. And I was just so at awe. When I was a teenager, I had no concept of these things whatsoever. And to see that there are kids out there, and there's more and more of them being born on Earth, was so perceptive and so open for all these things, and so thirsty to learn more. And yes, so I hope we stay in touch. I hope I stay in touch with this girl and throughout her college years. And yes, it was just an amazing experience. So I'm sharing this for a few reasons. One is, maybe you are a parent and you have highly gifted kids, or one kid that is very perceptive around energy and maybe they struggle at school because there's just so many different energies from different people. I know I, as a kid, struggled a lot in school because of that, and the last year I even homeschooled myself because I just couldn't cope. And I think there's a lot of kids who struggle with all these different energies and heavy energies. So it's for you then to help this kid, either you yourself, if you're a practitioner of energy or know how to manipulate energy, help your kids with their energy management, but also your own energy so you don't affect your psychic kids, or to find a practitioner who does and who can help you and your kids to manipulate energy and make sure you don't affect each other. So the second reason why I'm sharing this, it's about, of course, the space we live in and work from. It is imperative that we work from a space that feels inspiring to us, that has the right frequencies, that has an abundance energy, because I can tell you from hundreds of space clearings that I've done now in this past decade and longer, that if you're in a space and somebody lived there before who went bankrupt or who had a very limiting money story and was living in lack or survival mode, or any money related stories in that space that you're not aware of because previous tenants or the previous owner left it behind, will affect you and your business. And it doesn't even have to be money related. There can be the energy of chronic illness, of somebody who went through chronic depression or any other chronic illness, and that energy will be so heavy and it will feel difficult to gain momentum in your business if your own energy is always feeling heavy too because of that. Or lots of times I have cleared away divorce homes where the previous owners or tenants have divorced within that space, and the couple that was then living there started to fight a lot. Again, this will all affect your own energy and your business if you are struggling to maintain a healthy, harmonious relationship with your spouse or your partner. Of course, it will affect you and your business. So anything that happened in that home before you moved in, anything that happened while you are living in it, will affect you, will affect all your family members, and of course your business if you work from there. So this is why I think it's imperative that we see space clearing as something like energetic home clearing, just like we declutter our homes out of physical stuff, just like we do weekly or daily household chores and we keep cleaning our homes physically. Energetically, it's the same thing. We are human beings, we are emotional, we go through traumas in life, through shocking moments, we get sick in our homes, we have fights, and all of that energy lingers around for ages. It really does. And so I really wanted to instill this awareness that energetic space clearing is imperative for you to feel well in your own space, because it's important that you feel safe, that you feel grounded in your space, inspired, creative, all the things you want to feel in your business. Maybe for you it's different things like feeling more productive or more abundant, whatever it is you need in your business, you should feel that energy in that space. So yes, as I said before, you are welcome to schedule in a free space clearing assessment with me if you feel there's something troubling you in your home, if you feel there's some heavy energies that you can't explain, or maybe there's just one room in your home that feels a bit off or just different than the other rooms. Maybe once you moved in, you noticed getting sick much more frequently, or your family members. Maybe you picked up on insomnia when before you slept so much better. There is many different things that can happen when we move into a new space, and once we become aware of those things, then we can handle them and we can clear them, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So I hope you enjoyed this little episode with this teenager girl, and have a beautiful day.